Christian Morris, he has like the flu or something, so we held him out. Duarte's doing better. He'll go this evening. He did quite a bit this morning in the individual and everything. They're still thinking it was just a cramp and not a pull, so he should be back at it. We got 3 guys that had concussions, so we're holding them until they're cleared to, fully cleared. As you guys know, we don't mess with that stuff. Kevin McReynolds, Ian Tobler, and Poise. We sent them all back down to get evaluated in Westwood today, so they won't be out here for a couple days. Eddie had an x-ray yesterday. We're waiting for him to read it, but he felt a lot better today. So we just got to make sure with the back that we're doing the right thing, but we need to get him out here as well. So I don't know where the rest of it is. Who else was missing?
Marsh.
Oh, he's okay. His knee's sore. He did something yesterday, but he's fine.
Jordan Zummel.
He's going to be fine. He's been dehydrated. I remember last year he had the problem. He's so lean and he sweats so much that he has a tendency to get dehydrated. And we're just trying to keep his weight up and keep him feeling good. And we're going to go full gear tonight, full pads. We're going to have some live goal line and short yards. We're going to have a live period at the end. So I'd like him to be out here doing that. So we took it off him a little bit this morning. We had the spider shells, the soft shells again today. I thought the work was good. The 2-minute was great. Just getting down here where we had the 4th down situation. You're just trying to create all those situations where we have to think through it. So it was good. Some young guys continue to impress. I look at 2 outside linebackers, Miles, Jack, and Deion Hollins. You see a couple guys that really have tremendous skill set. It's just a matter of getting them up to speed mentally, and then seeing how they hold up physically when we start really banging. So, but I don't know. I just think things are going the way they're supposed to go.
Speaking about young guys, Jalen Ortiz continues to really...
Yeah, for a guy that hadn't played really, he was more of a back. He's fluid and he's got burst. He can lower his center of gravity. He can change direction. He can accelerate. I like him. Darren Andrews as well. It seems to me, and maybe it's just I catch him at the right time, but it seems to me like Eldridge is making progress as well, feeling more comfortable. Seems like Craig Lee's feeling more comfortable. Alex Redmond was back out there today doing team stuff, and he seemed to be okay. He went all the way through. So Figgy's looking better.
Are Darren and Jalen going to be considered for any kind of special team?
Yeah, I think you need to. I mean, you get speed like that, you got to find a way to use them. Now, we don't want to. If we're going to use them, we have to make sure we use them enough that it warrants, using a red shirt. But if they can help us, we're gonna use them, and they're trying to get to the point where they can help us.
Did you learn anything from last year redshirting freshmen and stuff that you could take to this year in terms of redshirting freshmen?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a delicate deal because you're always trying to win right now. And so if you see a guy that can help you, my instinct is to use him, but I think you also have to be sensitive to the kid. If you're not going to use him to the extent where it's, you're really getting something out of him and he's really getting something out of the experience, then you hate to waste that year just for a few plays. So we just have to be really careful, and we have to really discuss it before we decide to put a guy in a game, or put him in a position where he might go in a game and burn his red shirt, But at the same time, if a guy can help us, then we want to play him. Like, I think a great example is Kenny Clark. You look at the way Lee's playing so far, and the way that Ellis has come along, and you okay, those are 2 really good nose guards. Kenny Clark is an outstanding player, but he's probably still 3rd in the rotation, and he's capable of playing as a freshman, but I don't know if it's worth it. And I'm not going to give him 5 plays a game, and waste his red shirt. So we just have to take every situation and evaluate it on its own merits and make the best decisions for us and the team.
Is that different from last year, or did you have that same mentality?
No, it's pretty much the same. Tried to. Yeah, I felt like all the freshmen that played got something out of it, and we got something out of them. I guess if you look back and you said, was there any player that didn't redshirt that played that it was a waste for? I don't get the feeling that there was, because I've thought about it a lot. I don't want to cheat these kids, but at the same time, they want to play and we want them to play. So.
I know Coach Clem said he wanted to hopefully have a starting first line for the O-line soon. What have you seen out of them, especially that right guard position? I know that's been the most contentious.
Well, you guys have noticed, I'm sure, that really probably for the last 3 practices at least, Caleb's been in there. consistently with the first group. And I'm not saying that it's his position, but we're trying to force feed him as much as we can. The thing about Caleb is he's strong. I mean, he's really physical when he gets his hands on guys. He's got a very high football IQ. He really understands the game. He's very well coached in high school. The obvious things are experience. When things start moving fast in front of him, or he gets different fronts, different looks, just processing the information. That's just a function of experience. And then, I don't know that any of these freshmen are used to practicing and playing at the pace that we play at. So he's handled it pretty well, though. So we just got to keep pushing him and see where he goes. But he certainly looks the part. Our offensive line, physically, they look good, like they're supposed to look. So just gotta make
Nate's
sure
really looking good at that white.
Nate, yeah. And when he catches it in the flat, I'm not sure those little corners are going to want to tackle him. He's got those gigantic hands, He's tough. He's tougher than heck. I think he looks great there. I think there's a role for him. I don't know how much you flex him out and ask him to run option routes and stuff. I think he'll get to that eventually. But you saw that little play where he's in the backfield and then he kind of bubbles out, and you get him on the edge and he can go. I mean, look at him. Look how long his arms are. He's 6'4", 240 or whatever. And
he's gone from offense
I wouldn't want to
to
tackle him.
offense. That athleticism is really showing.
Yeah, he's a great kid. He's one of our hardest workers by far.
With Zumwalt out, Isaac Sabanea got a lot of time, and you're using him in a lot of nickel situations. What does he bring?
Maturity. It's not too big for him. He doesn't conduct himself like a freshman. The other thing we did today is we had Miles Jack take some of the dime stuff at inside linebacker and try to work him in there. Those are two guys that are physically mature and emotionally mature, and they're two guys that we look at as guys that can help us immediately. And so we're going to try to give him as much work as we can. But the thing you like about Isaac is he really understands the defense already. Now there's going to be things that happen that he doesn't react to as quickly as you'd like. He's just very mature. And it's just the game's not too big for him. He doesn't seem overwhelmed by this level of play.
And Jack's coverage skills lend him to be able to do that?
Did you see what we did today during one-on-one?
I did.
We put him down, we put Miles down there with the DBs and put him on slots. Because if you play dime and you're that dime linebacker, then you have to move out and cover slots sometimes. Not necessarily in man-to-man a whole lot. But we wanted to see how he did. And, his technique is not there yet. And he grabs a lot, but his athleticism it's unbelievable. It really is. He just lowers his center of gravity, has great change of direction, amazing quickness. So, you'll see us continue to put him down there and cover some wideouts. I want to know if he can do it, or how close he can get, or how far away he is, technique-wise. But, those are the kind of guys you got to get on the field because they're going to make plays for you.
Do you feel better about the ability to limit sacks, given Brett's decision making and the offensive line looking better too?
I think, and I think it's both of those things. I think it's probably starts with, I don't know if it starts with either. It's probably a 50-50. It's the offensive line protecting better. It's the backs protecting. It's the receivers getting open. So that's the function that Brett can't control. But, we all saw it. It's not a mystery. A lot of those sacks last year with Brett not want to concede. He didn't want to concede a play. Or the time clock in his head isn't synced up to know that, okay, it's time to get rid of it. And so that's something we continually emphasize with him. And I just think the fact that he understands the offense better now and knows where everyone's supposed to be, I think that'll help him in terms of making the decisions to throw it away or get down. So, because when we went back to the Pac-12 media days, the ESPN guys showed me some statistics, and Brett, his completion percentage was really high. He was better on third down in 2 minutes than he was even in game situations. But the thing that just crushed us was the sacks. We were pretty almost as bad as penalties, maybe worse. So.
Do you feel like because the weather's a little milder this year that you've been able to get more accomplished so far than maybe you did last year with all the 100-degree temperatures?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I like the heat. We're about 90 probably at some point today. Last year we were hovering around 105, 107. It was crazy some days. So I like this temperature. And the fact that, we spent those 2 days doing something a little bit different. We didn't need to come up here and have it just be grueling like it was last year. So I feel like we haven't had to adjust the practices as much. Our guys are able to work at a high tempo. and not just get gas. We haven't had anyone fall out yet, and hopefully we don't. So I think we're going to get a little more heat later in the week, but I think they've adjusted well. I like the temperature.
Of course, their ears might be bleeding
From
after
the
a while.
music. I know, we turned it down a little bit today. It's starting to get to me. But we're going to crank it back up tonight. I will take requests if you guys have. Or you can have your readers, like, send you guys requests, and we'll put
that.
We should do that.
Twitter poll?
Yeah, Twitter poll. Let's get requests. We need different genres, though. We need acid rock. We need classic rock.
You guys finally got one
We
right with
need
the
some
Ramones.
Motown. We need some hip hop. I think we every once in a while for Jerry Neuheisel need to put some country in there. You know, hair bands,
Had you done that before?
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty common. You know, a lot of teams do it. There's a couple reasons. Number one, it gets them going. You know, I think there's a certain rhythm to practice. These players react to music. Music's a big part of our culture. I think it can serve as a distraction, you know. I also think when it's loud and I start cussing, people can't hear it as easily. So it masks, it masks some of that. You still hear it?
Players can't hear.
Yeah.
That's why you tear up the play sheet.
That was a new one for me.
And then you had to pick it back up.
Well, and I had all these notes, and right when I did, I go, "You're such an idiot. You need to have a prop or something." You know?
Well, you have to pick it up because you can't tell the guys about clearing the cafeteria.
That's right.
They leave trash on the ground.
I know. So anyway,
You got a chance to look at some punt returners today. Anybody there standing out for you?
no, I didn't even look at them. You know what I was doing? I was watching the protection. I never even turned around and saw who was catching it. And I haven't asked Coach Brick about it yet. You know, you see right now Shaq's working and Ish is working, and I think Jalen and those guys will work back there. I feel a lot more comfortable with our punt return situation than I did last year, just because last year I had no idea who was going to be back there. This year I feel like we've got some guys that can do it. So.
I know you guys thought about moving X out to left tackle to guard Brett's blind side at least a little bit.
Done.
Yeah.
We're good. We're set.
Is that a huge relief for you guys to know
Not
that
yet.
you
It
don't
will be when we
necessarily
start
have to
playing
move him?
games and doing well. You know what's great is that you get Simon out there, and most of the practice he goes against Anthony. And so both of them are going to get better because of that. And I really see Simon improving. I mean, sure, he still has a couple lapses now and again, but he's going against an All-American, and he's just going to get better because of it. I feel very confident with him there. Feel very confident with Torian at the right side. Feel very confident with X, Jake. And then, you know, we just got to get Caleb up to speed. But I think that I have noticed our offensive line less, which is a good thing. You know.
Where does Jordan James fit in the backfield?
Well, right now he's number one on the depth chart. But as you guys know, the way we play and the number of plays that we're going to play in a game, you know, Jordan's going to get snaps and Steven's going to get snaps, you know, and I'm talking about Steven Manfred. And Malcolm's going to get snaps, you know, and if Thiggy's back, Thiggy's going to get snaps. And who did I miss? And Paul's going to get snaps. You know, so those 4 guys or 5 guys, however many I just named, they're all going to get snaps. And I think that it depends on situations, on who's hot, you know. But I feel like Jordan, he looks bigger to me. His ball security's been really good. I don't want to jinx him. He's been hitting it more downhill. You know, one of the things that Jordan and I always talked about in the past was, you know, he's very shifty and very quick, but I like a guy that could put his foot in the ground and go downhill, and he seems to be doing that better as well. So it's a good group, you know. Is Jonathan Franklin in that group? No, but maybe a future Jonathan Franklin is.
It seems like catching passes out in the flat has also kind of been a strength of his as well.
It is, and that's a big part of our offense because that's kind of like a run. You know, you'll see the kind of the option plays we run, and then Brett will throw it out there, and it's almost like the old triple option. So that guy, you know, he has to have good hands because it's not a 5-yard pitch; it's a 20-yard throw at times, and sometimes his body's in an awkward position. So the fact that he can do that and Steven can do that well, you know, it's a little bit harder for Malcolm just because he's bigger, you know, not as agile in space as those guys. He's got different strengths, but yeah, it helps that he can do that.
With Brett being further along, do you think you guys will run more kind of read option this year than you did last year, or is it sort of the same?
I think it depends. Yeah, I think it depends on game plan and how people are playing us, and yeah, I think it's impossible to say. I mean, it's certainly part of our package, and it'll always be. But I mean, in terms of the number of times he gets called in the game, I don't know. I think that just depends. But we can do it, you know. The key thing is if you run it and Brett starts running, is, you know, Brett has to take care of his body. and we have to make sure we help him take care of his body because you know he's too good a player to risk injury trying to get 2 extra yards by banging into somebody.
And we haven't seen him slide out here yet.
He slid
either.
yesterday once.
Did he?
Well,
Okay.
It might have been an accident. But he slid. I know. I'm trying to get him to slide. Hopefully, I'll get him to slide tonight. So, all right.